is a Bramble Jam podcast.
Welcome to Girls Gone Hallmark, a Hallmark review podcast. I'm Megan, and I'm a longtime Hallmark fan.
I'm Wendy. I'm a former Hallmark hater.
We are continuing our fan favorite lineup of movies. We have just 2 movies to go, including today. And today we're discussing The Presence of Love, which originally aired on Hallmark on March 13th, 2022. You can hang out with us when the podcast is over, or right now, click on over to Instagram where we are Girls Gone Hallmark.
Hey, jump into our Girls Gone Hallmark Facebook group. Tons of awesome people over there who really know a lot of stuff about Hallmark movies. If you're ever looking to connect with somebody to talk about something, a movie that from days yonder, somebody has seen it. It's a great community over there.
They're the best. I agree. And if you want to talk to us about your thoughts on anything Hallmark related, please email us girlsgonehallmark@gmail.com. We absolutely love putting together listener mailbag episodes, and we need your input in order to be able to do those. We are girlsgonehallmark@gmail.com. Let's hop right into The Presence of Love with a synopsis.
Yes. Professor Joss travels to England to visit the farm where her late mother grew up and bonds with single father Daniel, whose family now runs it. My gosh. These sentences sometimes.
McLean Nelson directed The Presence of Love. He has 17 directing credits, including The Magic of Lemon Drops, Branching Out, and both Haul Out the Holly movies.
Nicole Baxter wrote the script for this one. She has 22 writing credits, including some recent favorites like An Unexpected Valentine and Blind Date Book Club.
You know, you wrote the notes for this episode, so all of this is brand new information to me. I was like, oh, that all tracks because, great director, great writer. Tells me what I need to know about this movie. Eloise Mumford plays Joss in The Presence of Love. She has 29 acting credits and was last seen on Hallmark in 2023's Sweeter Than Chocolate. Right now, she's starring in Cross on Amazon Prime, which also features Hallmark favorite Kristen Booth.
Julian Morris co-stars as Daniel. His past work includes roles in New Girl. Is it called New Girl?
I don't know.
You know, the show with...
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I thought it was called The New Girl.
It's called New Girl.
Okay, New Girl, Pretty Little Liars, and Little Women. The Presence of Love was his second project for Hallmark.
Amy Sharp plays Tegan. This movie, as well as one episode of a series called The Wheel of Time, makes up her 2 acting credits. That's criminal.
I know, she's so cute.
Yeah.
Samantha Bond plays Marin. She's got a pretty extensive resume dating back to 1983. Some of her appearances include Downton Abbey, Murdoch Mysteries, as well as several James Bond films.
She was Miss Moneypenny in James Bond. I was looking to see who... Oh, she's Lady... That's who she is. Lady Rosamond. She's the sister, the sister in Downton Abbey. Amanda Blake plays Gwen. We last saw her in Her Pen Pal, making The Presence of Love her second Hallmark movie. Anand Desai Barokia plays Felix. He has 16 acting credits with appearances in Days of Our Lives and Bridgerton. He also appeared in one episode of the Nickelodeon series The Fresh Beat Band.
Did you watch the Fresh Beat Band with the kids?
I didn't. I think we just missed it.
We watched a lot of the Fresh Beat Band. I don't remember this particular actor, but, lots of Fresh Beat Band. June B. Wilde plays Robin. She has 99 acting credits with roles that span Hallmark, Lifetime, and primetime television.
This movie was filmed on location in Cornwall, England. Let's take a quick break, and we're going to come right back with our first impressions of The Presence of Love. Hey, Wendy, what's your first impression of The Presence of Love?
If I could give this movie 10 stars, I would.
Oh my gosh. My first impression is nobody told me Gran was going to make me cry twice.
No kidding, because we're going to talk about it, but holy cow, she was not nice. She was very intimidating.
Yes. And then she ended up being my favorite.
Yes. All right, let's talk about likes.
So much to say. First of all, I gotta say I love an anxiety storyline.
I mean, bravo to Hallmark.
Yeah, they really went all the way in. Like has anxiety. She's living with anxiety. She's medicated for anxiety. She has strategies for dealing with it. She still deals with these panic attacks. I mean, make it front and center. I loved it.
Yeah, I was really surprised how this movie was so much deeper than I had expected it to be.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be super typical Hallmark movie. I thought it was going to be like unhappy girl runs away to foreign country, you know, like whatever.
Yes.
I don't know truly what I expected, but the storylines about mental health, dyslexia, we have themes of heartbreak, grief, loss. It was all well written and well acted.
I agree. This movie, it has so many layers, and I really feel like they do them all justice. Again, you have Joss and her career upheaval. You have Daniel dealing with what's next for the farm, as well as trying to be the single parent to a daughter. And Tegan is dealing with learning disability, and you have the mom struggle. All of these different storylines, and they all wove together so well. I really loved it.
Yeah, sometimes Hallmark can throw too much at a story, right? And this had a lot. It had a lot, but it was so nicely done. Yeah, it just all came together. It was really well done. Really, really well done.
Can we talk about Samantha Bond?
Yeah.
Now, I loved Eloise Mumford and Julianne Morris in this, but Samantha Bond is an absolute star. And as you said, she is kind of mean. Like, she is not warm. She doesn't really want Joss there in the rental. She's kind of pushing back on some of the decisions her son has made. She's not the warm, kind grandmother, although she very clearly loves Tegan. That's clear. Mm-hmm. She's difficult.
Yeah.
She has two scenes in this movie. First, where she brings the box to Joss, which includes the book of poetry, and she's so lovely to her. When she talks about how she had found it and it didn't seem like anything, but she knew it meant something to somebody, and she talks about her mother, and she just gives her this opportunity to have this moment. I sobbed when Eloise Mumford as Josh was crying in that moment, talking about missing her mom. It was a really emotional moment.
I agree.
And then at the festival, little Tegan is going to say her poem. And for a second, I thought she was going to dance, because they were talking about how like dancing helps.
Oh,
you.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But instead, she has her cue cards from her grandma. When grandma flips up that first cue card with the photos she had drawn in order to help her be able to remember and read, immediately tears. I'm sobbing in that moment.
I know, me too. I sent Megan a screenshot. I was like, with a crying emoji.
Yes.
I'm so glad that we both had the same reaction.
You know, I think it's also like who we are, like we're moms, and just like that way she showed up for that little girl in that moment and supported her. So she, she was so nervous about being on stage. It was lovely.
I know, that scene absolutely laid me out. I was like, what am I doing? I'm crying over this. Yeah, it was so good. It was so good. I want to talk about Eloise Mumford here for a second. I think she also gave a really great standout performance, especially when she would portray like Joss having panic attack.
Yeah.
I thought the way that, well, this might be just more of like the story too, but like the way that she used the poetry as a coping mechanism, and it was just like a beautiful, seamless way to like tie the movie's like literary references throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just really like those scenes
and connect her back to her mom.
Yeah, they were so good. They were so done so well. And I also really loved her the warmth that she shows Tegan like all this stuff about like helping her with the dyslexia and like how to learn differently, I thought was just so smart. And obviously, like Tegan's mom left, right? We get that story later on when Daniel tells how she just like up and leaves. And it's not like Daniel's not looking for like a replacement mom for Tegan at all, right? Simply just she offered the help, and that's what was going on. I just loved all those scenes. They were just so good.
Yeah, you could tell the grandmother was really hesitant about having Joss offer that help because she immediately jumped to like, oh, she's a mother figure in her life and she's going to leave too. Which I was watching and I was trying to decide. I was like, look, she's just a visitor. Like, it's okay for her to connect with this little girl. She's not making her lifelong promises. Like, Tegan's smart enough to understand that this woman is potentially here temporarily. Like, she's a guest.
Exactly. I was going to also mention Julian Morris. I really liked him too. I love the dry English humor, and there were some cute, like funny lines. You know, we recently recorded our review for Her Pen Pal, and you said that was like too romantic. There was not enough calm in it, right? How would you depict this movie?
That's so funny. That's a great question because there's not a lot of comedy in this movie. But I think the difference is this feels more dramatic. This is more like a romantic drama, whereas Her Pen Pal is more pure romance. And I think the addition of some of the heavier themes in this movie, I love a rom-com, but I think elevates this movie for me over Her Pen Pal, dealing with
totally
the loss of her mother, the loss of Tegan's mother, the business decisions, her work decisions, her anxiety, all of that adds to the story. And so while I do think this is romance, I don't think the success of the movie relies quite as heavily on the success of the romance.
Yeah, agree. But with that said, there were some funny little lines, mostly in the dialogue between Joss and Daniel about like being a wingman, and it was all like Americanisms basically that were lost in translation. Anyway, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed it. Two more things I really liked. I liked that the end of the movie had a 1 year later moment.
Yeah.
However, I wanted more. It was not enough for me.
Yeah. I agree. At that point, I was willing to let them be further along in their relationship.
Yes, me too. I was like, I feel like Hallmark now has trained me, show me now that they're married or she is pregnant or something. You know what I mean? It wasn't, I just wanted more. I just wanted more. I mean, it was perfectly fine how it was, but I wanted more.
I totally agree. I just loved their story so much. The final thing that I liked is the conflict between Joss and Daniel is never really a conflict between the two of them. It's just circumstantial. She doesn't live here and she's, in theory, has to go back home. And I really liked how he was like, what are you going to do? Your job isn't here. She's like, I don't know. I guess I'm going to figure it out. I liked that it was very much like, well, we're going to have to figure that out. There is something here that needs to be handled, but let's see what happens.
Yeah. My last thing that I really loved, like the scenery was so beautiful in this movie, and I will be headed to England very soon. I Googled to see how far, because we'll be in London. I Googled to see how far.
Yeah.
Cornwall would be, it's too far. It's like a 4 hour drive.
That's too far.
I'm not going to do it, but stunning. So pretty. And in fact, I thought based on like the movie art of this movie, I thought it took place in Ireland.
Same.
Because of how green and lush it was.
All right, let's talk wishes.
I have
You go
very few.
first.
I have very few.
Oh,
Very,
good.
very few. I think on the surface, this movie could seem like a sleepy movie because it is kind of like the pace is a little slow, but it progresses as it should. Like nothing is hurried up too quickly, right? I did try to watch this movie once and ended up falling asleep, but that's not totally uncommon with me. So, but I didn't think it was like slow, where painfully slow.
No, I totally agree. I think it's like a quiet movie, but it's not a sleepy movie.
My other little wish is that director McLean Nelson does not get enough credit as a director in the Hallmark universe. He's a really good director.
Agree. When you look at that resume, I mean, those are some of our absolute favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I think Nicole Baxter is another one. I think for me, that's not a household Hallmark name when you ask me to name Hallmark writers. And the fact that she wrote An Unexpected Valentine and Blind Date Book Club, as well as this one, I mean, girl's got some chops.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what she's doing next, because hopefully it's a Christmas movie or there's something coming.
Are you Googling?
Yeah, I'm looking her up on IMDb right now. Unexpected Valentine was the last thing that she was credited with, but that doesn't mean anything. So there could be more coming.
Great.
I don't really have any wishes. Like, when I look at this movie, there was, other than to your point about like, yeah, I wanted more from them. I think that's very rare where we can say like, oh, I just wanted them to like continue telling this story. Like, I would absolutely go back. I'm not all in on a sequel usually, but I think this one, there's so much story to tell with all of these characters. I think you could absolutely do a sequel here and still tell another really beautiful story.
Yeah, I think so too.
Let's talk. Did you see that?
I have a few.
Okay.
Actually, this one is so stupid, but at the beginning, after Joss has her conversation with the dean about her paper or whatever, and she's low-key panicking, and she looks at the clock to take her meds, and the clock reads 4:20. And I'm like,
that's funny.
I'm 12 years old. But I was like, do you think they did that on purpose?
I don't know. Is that some props guy? Like, let me see if I can sneak this in there.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I have two other Did You See That's. One is the number of coats Joss has.
100% one of my Did You See That's. That's a big ass suitcase that you would need for all those coats.
I mean, at least 5. Like, she had a bright pink one, a houndstooth one, like so many. Very, very cute. But I was like, you're only there 2 weeks. I don't know why you're bringing so many coats. Come on.
Yes, and honestly, it was mentioned in many IMDb reviews, but I noticed, I mean, I loved her coats. They were beautiful, but I feel like you traveled with one.
Yeah.
Just one coat.
Exactly. And the last Did You See That I had is McLean Nelson's wife and fellow director Claire Niederpruem was a producer on this movie.
Nice. Did I know that they were married? I don't know.
Yes, you knew that.
I did?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, Did You See That, other than the coats, is there's a lot of apparent green screen in this movie.
Really?
Which is weird because it's filmed out. Now, a lot of it's in the car. There's a shot. If you go back and look, this is real nitpicky, but if you go back and look at them like driving in the car, there's a shot of the dog, and then they flash to Daniel in the rear view mirror, and then just the whole thing is like, whoa, this is real green screeny. And then there were so many moments where they're on the water with like water behind them. I'm like, that does not look real. Are my eyes playing tricks on me, or did they have to add in that? Because when they pulled back from the scene, I was like, that looks real. But the close-ups of the scene, I think there's more green screen in this movie than they wanted us to think.
Got it.
We already talked about it, but I do think this is the first panic attack we've ever seen on Hallmark. Is my final. Did you see that?
I think so too. It has to be.
I mean, I don't think we even need to ask, but what did you rate The Presence of Love?
5 stars.
5 stars. Hooray. I had like no awareness of this movie prior to watching it.
Oh, really? Yeah, me neither. I'm like,
this isn't one like North to Home or Rip in Time that I had even heard people talk about.
Yeah, and I can't remember who originally suggested this movie, but thank you. Very well done. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Girls Gone Hallmark, a Bramble Jam podcast. We'll be back next time with more Hallmark reviews. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, friends, before we go, just a quick heads up. You're about to hear some ads. These little gems help us keep the show running and the Hallmark love flowing. So do with that info what you will. Grab a snack, hit the skip button, or maybe, just maybe, listen in and discover your new favorite product. Bye.